In this project, you'll program an LED light to turn on if a button is pressed. Within the void setup function, you'll use the pin mode function with the arguments to and output to set up an LED light that's plugged into port 2 of your MakerBoard. You'll also use the pin mode function with the arguments 6 and input pull up to set up a button on port 6. Input pull up means that the code is going to be checking this port for an inbound signal, and it can use that signal to activate other parts of your program. Notice that between the words input and pull up, there's an underscore, and to make that, you hold down the shift key and press the dash button on your keyboard. It's usually next to the 0 in the line of numbers on your keyboard. In the void loop function, we have an if statement, and an if statement has two main parts. First, it has a condition. This is what's between these first parentheses. The if statement is going to check if this condition is true. If that condition is true, we go to the second part of the if statement, which is the actions that run. These are between the curly braces of the if statement. So, if the condition between the parentheses is true, the actions between the curly braces will run. Here, what you're doing is reading port 6 and looking for a signal from the button. When a port is set to input pull-up, it sends a low signal when the button is pressed and a high signal if the button is unpressed. You can think about the signal matching the status of the button. If you push it down, the button is low, and if you release it up, the button is high. You'll notice there are two equal signs here. In our code, when we're checking to see if something is equal to another value, we use two equal signs. So, if the reading of port 6 equals low, then do whatever's between the curly braces. In our case, what's inside the curly braces is a familiar function, digital write, with the arguments to and high. So if the button reading is low, then turn on port 2. When the code reaches the end of an if statement, which is this closing curly brace, it will jump to the next line of code and run whatever else is in your void loop. In this case, there isn't anything else in the void loop. So the code is going to see the closing curly brace of the void loop, jump back up to line 9, and again, it's going to check this condition. If that condition is true, then turn on LED 2. Now, you'll notice that once you press the button and turn on your LED light, you're going to have to unplug the MakerBoard and plug it back in to be able to get the button to trigger the LED light again. Keep going through the rest of the projects and you'll understand how you can get the LED to turn off and on when you press and release the button.